Yay! I'm learning all the Zoom things, you guys. This is so exciting. So exciting. Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank each and every one of you that are here for taking time out of your busy lives and seriously just being here to support me just means the world to me. So thank you so much for doing that. And there are actually 3 reasons why I brought you here tonight. The first, we're already doing it. It's to connect, right? With the craziness going on in the world right now, I feel like connection is something that we so need. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of connection. The second reason why I brought you guys here tonight is to share a passion of mine with you. And the third reason is to ask for your help. So let's start with connection. 2020 has been kind of a crazy year, if you guys haven't noticed, and there's been just so much collective fear. I feel like so much uncertainty, and also just a lot of disconnection, people feeling isolated and just not being available for each other. And connection, human connection, is actually a need. It's not just a want, like, oh, that might be nice. It's actually a human need. And so for all my educators out there and scholars, you've probably, Liz, I know you know this one, you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's the pyramid, hi Kat, the theory that Maslow came up with. So there's 5 levels of needs, and it starts with our basic needs like air and water and food and all that, and then goes up to safety. And then the next one is belonging and love and connection. And then if you follow Tony Robbins at all, you know that he lays out 6 core human needs, and connection is one of those needs. So it's more than just a want, it's a need. Like, us doing this is imperative, connecting one to another. And actually, I'm doing a lot of work in this connection thing right now with my 16-year-old daughter. I'm learning a lot about it, because if anybody has teenagers out there right now, you know that connecting with them can be a little bit challenging at times. So I'm running into this problem of feeling like I'm not connecting with my own daughter. And as I've researched and studied this a little bit more, I'm seeing that there's one key skill, one key element to connecting. It's pretty simple, but it's hard to do, and it's listening. And the thing is, it's not just hearing what somebody has to say. Listening is sitting there, looking in their eyes, giving them your entire being there just for them. So it's listening without judgment. It's listening without an agenda, without trying to fix somebody. Just giving the gift of your presence to that person. So I am in the process of learning, struggling to learn how to do this with my 16-year-old daughter. And I know you guys didn't expect to get a homework assignment coming to this tonight, but I'm going to give you one anyway, because that's just how important I feel like listening and connecting one to another is. So I want you to pick one person that you intentionally want to connect with deeper in your life. And this next week, find a time where you can sit down with them, whether it be like this on Zoom or even over the phone or maybe in person, and just truly allow them to express themselves and be there to listen to what they have to say. giving them your entire being. And so that's your homework assignment. And now that we've established that you guys are going to listen to me without judgment during this call, I'm going to move on to the second reason why I brought you guys here. And the second reason is to share a passion of mine with you. So you probably read that post that invited you here today, where I said that my dad nicknamed me Chatterbox when I was a kid. And my mom might know, but I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. I mean, I think I was pretty young when he gave me that nickname, because I just love to talk and be 3 years old. See, 3. So basically, ever since I could talk, that's what I was good at doing, was talking. So then I went through life and got to high school. And of course, what do chatterboxes do in high school? They join the speech and debate team. So I joined the speech and debate team. And actually my sweet friend Liz, who's on the call, was on that team with me. And our buddy Nate, who might listen to this at some point. And we would go to these speech and debate tournaments together. We'd get in Mr. Miller's van and he would take us to these events, these tournaments and competitions. Well, the funny thing was, I was horrible at debate. Horrible. Liz will tell you, the worst. She was amazing at debate. Her and Nate won all the things. And for me, I was like, I don't want to convince anybody of anything. I don't want to fight with anybody. Like, can't we all just get along? And even at a young age, all I wanted to do was to encourage people, to inspire people to live their best lives. So that's the path that I went on. I just started leaning and gravitating more toward actual speeches. And I remember very clearly, it was one speech competition. I had gotten to the finals. And I'm giving my speech, and halfway through, I just forgot everything. I mean, everything. My mind was like a blank slate. And I remember just thinking, this cannot be happening. And it probably lasted 30 or 45 seconds or something, but it felt like an eternity. And you know what the crazy thing was? That was the one competition where I had actually invited my friends and family to come and see me speak. That was the one time, because before then it always made me too nervous. But this was the finals. So I look out in the audience and there is my mom and my dad and my friends, and everybody's just looking at me expectantly. And I just felt in that moment like such a failure. And I know it was, they weren't putting pressure on me. I was putting pressure on myself. And I felt like, man, I failed this. I let them down. And I'm sure in your lives, you guys can think of a moment, usually it's when you're growing up, where an event happens, something happens where you just know that you have shifted somehow, where the way you view the world changes. And that was one of those moments for me, because I remember going home and just feeling terrified to ever feel that way again, to ever feel like I can't remember my lines, or that I'm letting somebody down, that I'm letting myself down, that I'm not doing a good job. So it was almost like I put on this backpack and I put all my fears in there. And for 20 years, I carried this backpack through life, and it weighed me down. Our fears impact our lives, and subconsciously, I was making all the decisions I was making, or at least most of them, were from a place of fear. And I can't remember when it was, a couple years ago though, I read this analogy in a book that I just want to share with you guys, because for some reason it works in my mind. You know, you'll hear certain things and you're like, oh, that clicks. Okay. I get that. So the analogy is you and fear in a car. And the question is, who is driving the car? Are you in the driver's seat and fear in the passenger seat? Or is fear in the driver's seat and you're in the passenger seat? Who's in control of your life? And so about 9 years ago, I hit rock bottom in my life. And it was just a time of desperation for me. And I became aware of the backpack. I was like, wow, I am living in total fear. And what can I do about this? So what can we do when we are living in total fear? We fight back. We take action. We decide to get in the driver's seat of the car. So that's what I decided to do. And for the last 9 years, I've done a lot of things to walk through different fears in my life, but specifically for speaking, because it is a passion of mine, I would go even so far as to say it is my life's purpose. I knew I needed to walk through this fear of speaking, publicly speaking. In our fears, as much as we want to walk over them and under them and around them, and please, dear God, don't make me walk through them, we have to walk through each and every one of our fears. Now, baby steps, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I'm talking about a span of 9 years. But the first thing I did is I joined Toastmasters, which is, you probably have heard of it. It's the public speaking organization where you can go and you give speeches and you get better and you get feedback, and it's amazing. So I joined Toastmasters and started giving speeches, and I started speaking at networking groups and women's groups. And mind you, it was not pretty. It was messy. I mean, when I say messy, I mean ugly messy. You know when people ugly cry? It's kind of like that. And somebody's giving a speech and I'm shaking violently, or I'm forgetting my lines, or I'm stuttering or sweating, all of the things. But I kept doing it because I knew that I had to walk through the fear consistently, going back. So then I joined a speech contest, which, if you remember my story from before, speech contests are kind of a thing for me, a little intimidating. But I signed up for a speech contest, and I went and I gave a speech, and I lost. And I lost to my amazing boyfriend, Lewis. Thank you very much, who's on this call. But you know what? It didn't matter, because I was walking through my fear. That was my whole purpose, was just to continue walking through the fears. And recently, I think it was last year or the year before, I was able to speak in front of 900 people at the Crest Theater for an event that my mentor, Kevin Bracey, put on. And it was another speech contest. And yes, I lost again. But you know what? It wasn't as ugly. It wasn't quite as messy. I didn't shake. And it lit a fire in me. It made me realize, Janice, this is your purpose in life. So go for it. Go for it more. Put more focus on this. And now I'm doing a virtual summit with you lovely, amazing people who have decided to show up and support me. And I am so, so grateful. But why? Why am I doing this? And I think we all need a why when we're doing something, so that we can go back to our why when things get hard. When we feel like giving up and throwing in the towel and what the heck am I doing? Why did I even think that this was my passion to begin with? We go back to our why. And my why for this is to encourage, uplift, and unify hearts through an example of authenticity, action, and love. That is my why. And that's what I have to keep going back to, because that is truly what my heart's desire is. I wish to speak to students and encourage them through the hard years that I'm sure all of us went through in school, where we're bullied or have self-esteem issues, where we just don't feel like we're good enough. I want to talk to teachers and encourage them in the amazing work that they do in making a difference, in being a light to the future generation. And that's, my mom was a teacher for a long time. And I'm so impressed with people that do that job, because it is hard. And Liz is a professor, so that's very hard, but you know, when they're young, and my mom would talk about these third graders and young kids just with problems at home and hard situations. I want to encourage those people. I want to encourage women, specifically women, and give them tools and steps to take to empower themselves, to be the best versions of themselves possible. And I also want to speak to businesses and corporations about personal development, personal growth, because as we know, we bring who we are into the workplace. So that is my desire. And I want to speak to those groups of people to encourage, to uplift, to inspire, to unite them. And that brings me to the third reason why I called you guys all here together, and you so graciously came. And that is, I don't know if you know this, but 95% of speaking engagements come by personal recommendation or referral from somebody. So I would just ask of you, if you know of anybody that fits into any of those four buckets, the schools or organizations or women's groups, that you would either refer them to me or me to them. I can contact them or they can contact me. But that would mean the world to me, because I truly want to continue moving ahead, even though it still scares me to death. Let's be clear, the fear is still there, but I continue to walk through it, and it does get easier. So the fear's there, but it gets easier. And like my mentor, Kevin Bracey, says, practice makes improvement. And that's what I want to do, just improve so that I can inspire, so I can encourage, so I can love on people. And man, that's truly my heart. So, woo, that one got me. I want to share a picture with you to close here. That's not the one. Let's see. So this is my public proclamation that in regards to speaking, I am committed to getting out of the back seat, to putting on my helmet, to suiting up, and to jumping into the front seat to drive that car. That is my commitment to you tonight. And for you, I want to invite you to whatever that fear that is holding you back from living your best life right now, the life that you know is meant for you. I want you to commit along with me to put that fear in the back seat, put your helmet on, suit up, jump into the front seat, and take control of your life. Take control of the wheel of the car. That is what I would love for us all to do together, because we are in this together for the ultimate life experience. And I will stop sharing my screen. And here's what I want to do. Let me see what we're at. Okay, so I want to be super respectful of your time, and it's almost 7:30, but I just want to open it up if anybody has, because coming back to the first part, talking about connection, I would love to interact with you guys right now and just hear any thoughts that you have, anything that you want to share, or any questions that you have for me or anybody else who is on this call. And once again, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your love, your support, for just being amazing human beings and showing up here. It means